Hey, Vincey Lou Who, how are you? How goes it, sister? Sister from another mister. This book's good. I'm liking it. The only problem is they're in high school, but that's all right. I mean, they don't talk and act like they're in high school. Well, maybe they do, but you get my point. I don't know. I've been working on cleaning the kitchen from Christmas Day. I've been trying to get boxes ready for Big Daddy to haul off to burn or whatever he's going to do with them. I got a load of laundry in. I picked up some of the Christmas wrapping station that we created in the back. And I've been lazy too, but I got up at 10:15, so I've been real lazy because I washed my ass today. I didn't take a shower or anything. My hair's going ching. I sat around a bit lazy too, though. I'm watching Yellowstone again for the 15th time. But cowboys never get old. Not them kind of cowboys, anyway. I do need a break, though. And then I got to get in here and get this mess cleaned up. Oh my gosh. Don't think there's a lot to do. It's just a matter of getting in here and doing it. I bought some desk organizer stuff. Hey, Miss Shirley. So that I can organize my desk a little better. I mean, I have a paperless job, and my desk, well, it's not full of paper, it's just full of everything else. But I'm hoping to get that straightened up. But yeah. How's Miss Shirley doing? Come on, y'all. Don't be afraid to come and join us. Hey, Teddy. How are you, darling? How goes it? Teddy, how much snow you got up there? You're from what? New Hampshire, Vermont, somewhere through there? Miss Shirley, did you guys get any snow for Christmas? We got, well, snow fell from the sky and it laid on the cars and the porches for a couple of hours and then it blew away. Yeah, that was Christmas Eve. Just a trace. I figured you'd have like feet and meters and yards of snow by now. Ore! I thought all you guys were supposed to get like some kind of snowstorm or something through there. Not that I'm glad you didn't, but snory. Snory, we're talking about snow. Snorri. I like that. I'm gonna start calling you Snorri. You hear that, Vincent? We're gonna call her Snorri. That's her new name. Snorri. We had sunshine on Christmas Day, but it was colder than a witch's titty in a brass bra. All righty, y'all about ready to get started here before I decide I need to get up and do something because I'm looking at this mess over here and I really need to get this thing going. So, this is a book by Nuda F's author. Her name is R.E. Bond, and she is from Australia. Had the cover handy, and then I got to talk to my daughter, Miss Sylvie. Okay, so this book is called Pretty Lies, and it is part of the Watch Me Burn series. It's book 1 in the Watch Me Burn series. I don't know. No, okay, that maybe right there. Maybe right there. You see. She's got a bandana around her neck, and she's looks like she's vaping, so she's got steam coming out of her. Well, which is different than smoke, by the way. And she got long black hair and looks like she's wearing a tank top or something. Hear my birds? Okay, so, oh my eyes. Let's get started. Chapter 1. By the way, this is a reverse harem, and these kids are in high school. So let's just roll with it. Maybe it's their senior year. I don't know. But in a lot of ways, we were never mean like this at my school that I'm aware of. But I mean, I went to public school too. So, and we were a little bitty county. And, but, you know, the cover's real cool. But as far as the talk goes, yeah, we talk like this. And we did shit like this. So let's roll with it. All right, chapter 1. Okay. You're joking, right? I exclaimed as I crossed my arms tightly across my chest and glared at my father. He gave me a stern look from his seat behind the desk, his voice rough with warning. Aurora Donovan, don't even bother to argue with me on this. This new school will be perfect for you, and you should be grateful for the opportunity. Was he fucking real? Grateful? I didn't ask for a new school or a new mother, I snapped, hurt and angry, or anger lacing my tone. But he turned his attention back to the paperwork as he spoke again. I didn't ask to have a spoiled bratty daughter, but I sure as hell got one. How the hell am I spoiled and bratty? We're broke and have been for a long fucking time. No thanks to the debts that you keep racking up. That's the only reason you like this woman, isn't it? You love her money, not her, I spat. I wondered how long I could argue with him before he completely lost his temper with me again. And I didn't have to wonder long. I didn't flinch as he slammed his fist on the desk, his dark blue eyes boring into my light ones. Josie and her son are not our son are expecting us. Go and get ready so we can leave. I rolled my eyes, my arms still crossed firmly. I am ready. Like hell, Aurora. You've got to make a good impression. Tattered jeans and a ripped shirt won't work, he gritted out, making me frown and look down at my outfit with annoyance. The black ripped skinny jeans and white crop top didn't look that bad if I was being honest. I thought I looked pretty all right for a casual meet. I always wear this. Oh, I always wear this. Yeah. I finally questioned, making him look away from me, disgust in his voice. Exactly. Find something nice for fuck's sake. This is my nice outfit. Unless you want me to wear overalls or my PJs. He was such a fucking prick. I headed from the room, needing to get away from him, grabbing my black combat boots and lacing them up. I leaned against the wall to wait for Dad, brushing my long black hair with my fingers and tying it up in a high, messy ponytail. Well, Max, I only call him Dad when I had to. He finally emerged from his office, shaking his head at me with irritation as he walked past, grabbing his car keys. You know, you could at least pretend like the idea of not having to get a job so badly now, of not having to get. Let me start that over because I still messed it up. You know, you could at least pretend the idea of not having to get a job so badly now. Maybe Josie can take you shopping and you can get some nice clothes, maybe even a haircut. I gave him a dirty look before walking out the door behind him. I still need a job, and no, Josie won't be taking me out to do shit because I don't give two shits about her money. I've had to look after myself for a long time now, so I'll be fine. Thanks. He was such a freeloading piece of shit. Once we were in the car, he sighed in defeat, a sigh, a soft tone in his voice. It was fake. It always fucking was. Look, I know you miss your mother, but Josie, you make it sound like she's dead. She just couldn't stand you and your spending habits. When I find her, I'm gone. Got that? I gritted out before he could finish his sentence. He always pushed thoughts of mom to the side, and I fucking hated it. She left without you all those years ago because she didn't want you, Aurora. Stop living in your head with your happy stories of having a home with her again. He said in a low voice, making my heart tighten. He was fucking wrong. Mom wanted me. I just knew it. We drove the rest of the way in silence, my face scrunching into a scowl as we drove up to a massive mansion to park the car. Seriously? That belonged to Max's latest piece. She actually lived there? Bit overkill, isn't it? Who is she? The fucking queen? He ignored me as usual, climbing out of the car and heading towards a huge door as it opened, and a slender blonde woman walked out to greet him. I climbed out but hung back until he gave me a frustrated look. Josie, this is my daughter Aurora. Josie's smile was sweet, but I dodged her as she tried to hug me. Not that she seemed to be offended by my lack of affection. It's nice to meet you, Aurora. Your father's told me so. What the hell did that voice come from? Apparently, I'm doing the queen now. Let's try that in a different voice. It's nice to meet you, Aurora. Your father's told me so much about you. All bullshit, I bet. I prefer Rory. Well, Rory, come inside and make yourself at home. Would you like a sparkling water? Your father said you love them. I gave my father a sideways glance before replying in a relaxed voice, trying not to sound rude. Well, he's lying because I hate them. It tastes like television static in a plastic bottle. Yes. She let out a genuine laugh as she led us inside the big ass mansion and tried hard not to be intimidated by I try hard not to be intimidated by everything. It literally spelled out money. The corners of her lips lifted into a small smile. My son will like you. He's in the gym at the moment. I'm sorry. My eyebrows shot up in surprise. You have a gym? Of course they had a fucking gym. We have a gym, pool, movie room, bar, and so many bedrooms. You can use anything you like, okay? She beamed, making me realize the woman wasn't some snot-nosed cow like I'd originally thought she'd be. I gave her a small smile, warming up to her a little. Thanks. Josie showed me through the entire house, beaming even more when she stopped in front of a huge bedroom that our entire house would have fucking fit into. This one's yours. Pardon? I asked with confusion, taking a small step back as tension rolled through me. Max cleared his throat, managing to look at least slightly embarrassed. Your your bedroom, Aurora. I narrowed my eyes and took another step back silently, but Josie actually scowled at him, winning herself a few bonus points with me. Max Donovan, you didn't tell her? We're telling her now, aren't we? Father of the fucking year. Josie shook her head and glanced at me with an apology in her friendly green eyes. I thought you knew, honey. I asked your father to move in, and I asked him to bring you around so we could meet each other properly first. My back hit the wall. I sneered at my father, my fist clenching by my side as I tried to contain some of my anger. I could kill him. Want to drop anything else on me today? New mom, new house, new school. I'm glad I haven't sorted a job out yet. Or you would have fucked that up too, wouldn't you? Aurora, what did I say at home? He asked sternly, but I was pissed off and not feeling too agreeable. He shouldn't make a habit of upsetting me at important times. Then maybe I'd stop embarrassing him in front of people. Fuck him. I'm not fucking moving. No way in hell. Well, tough. You aren't 18 yet, kiddo, so you don't have a choice, he said smoothly, acting as if he had had me under control. He didn't, and he hadn't for a long fucking time. Josie looked concerned, so I gave her a small, polite smile, knowing it wasn't really her fault her little tour went sour. Thanks for showing me around, Josie. Go I might go and wait in the car while you and Max finish talking. You have a beautiful home. I could be polite when I wanted to be. She went to hug me, but stopped herself last minute as my whole body visibly tensed. That's okay. We won't be long. She nodded before I excused myself and headed back through the house. As I wondered As I wandered through the kitchen, I heard a snort, making me glance up to find a guy my age with hazel brown hair scowling at me like I was a devil incarnate. So, you're the girl that's moving into my house to spend my mother's money. That got my hackles up instantly, and I clenched my hands into fists, deciding against punching his lights out. Fucking rich prick. No, I'm the girl that had no idea she was moving in. And don't worry, I don't want your mother's fucking money. I'll look after myself. You're just a charity case that my mother's taken interest in. Max has been coming here for years, right? I've heard a lot about you, and I'll tell you right now that you need to stay out of my way, he said bitterly. Who the fuck did he think he was? Hate burned under my skin as I managed to speak confidently. Gladly. Spoiled over privileged rich kids aren't exactly something I like to hang around anyways. So maybe you should be the one to stay the fuck away from me. Got it, rich boy? An amused smirk hit his face just as our parents walked in, halting when they saw the standoff between us. Josie frowned with confusion. What's going on? Do you two already know each other? Her son chuckled almost cruelly, grabbing a beer from the fridge and popping the top to take a sip, his eyes landing on me again before he smirked. We were just talking, weren't we, Aurora? I rolled my eyes, figuring it would be better than telling him to go fuck himself. Sure, if that's what you want to call it. Aurora. No, Max. Aurora? Max warned in a low voice, but I raised an eyebrow, biting one of my lip rings for a moment before answering him. You don't get to decide how to parent me now. I raised my damn self, and you know it. So if you want to put on some act in front of coincidentally rich girlfriend, then be my guest. I'm not playing along, and I sure as shit won't be lounging around by the pool acting grateful to be here. Josie's too fucking good for you, and I hope she learns that you're a using piece of shit before you spend the last fucking cent she has. Does she know about the gambling and the drinking? How about the illegal poker games and the hookers? You only care about yourself, and it was nice to meet you, Josie. I ignored the furious look on my father's face and the stunned one on Josie's son's as I turned and headed out the door, shutting myself in the car. It was worth being fucking backhanded once we got home. Aurora was Caden. Aurora's one was a fucking brat, plain and simple. I was going to destroy her piece by piece, and Jensen was going to have a fucking field day with her. He liked crushing people more than I fucking did, and that said a lot. Problem was, she seemed more broken than I first realized. Watching her with her dad made me wonder what the fuck he did to her to make her the way she was. Max hadn't done anything wrong towards me or my mom, but I still had never grown to like him. I'd heard my dad talk about him before, and since dad liked him, I knew Max was a piece of fucking shit. Dad had warned me that Aurora was a little cunt, so I guess I had to find out for myself. Who was Aurora Donovan, and why the fuck did I have to fight my smile when she shot Max down like she did? I headed up to my room, watching her from my bedroom window as she sulked in the car, but my eyes narrowed as Max stalked out after a while and waved his hands around, obviously yelling at her. I didn't miss the way she flinched. I needed to know what the fuck was going on, and I had every intention of finding out what kind of man my mother was dating. I had to be fucking nice to her, didn't I? If she wouldn't tell me the easy way, the guys and I would get it out of her the fucking hard way, no matter the no matter the cost. What do y'all think? Rory. A sigh escaped me as I glanced around my new school the next day as I walked through the gates. Fucking rich pricks. I'd never really made close friends anywhere, so I knew it would be like every other time I went somewhere. I just stick to myself like I always did. I headed to where my locker was assigned, slightly surprised to find Josie's son leaning against it, and the way people stayed out of his way made me realize he was a big deal. His arms stayed crossed as I approached, but he silently moved out of my way as I jammed my jacket inside. I turned to face him and scowled when I found him still watching me. I sneered. What? What? There we go. What? His eyes scanned my face, pausing as he noticed the bruise on my cheek before he met my hard gaze. The fuck my mom gotten herself into with Max? My body relaxed slightly at his concern before I shut my locker with a sigh. Honestly, he's a piece of shit and should get the fuck away and she should get the fuck away from him. She's too damn nice to deserve what will happen if she lets him stay. He ruins everything around him, and I like your mom, so you need to convince her to leave him. I turned and walked away, chewing on my lip ring as I went. Sorry, guys, I'm still draining from being sick. I apologize. Um, I turned and walked away, chewing on my lip ring as I went, but I was surprised when I noticed he was walking beside me when he spoke again. The gambling and shit's true. Yep, my aunt gave me money for my birthday every year as a kid. She stopped when she found out Dad was still in it to gamble. I shrugged lazily. The hookers? Basically thinks he's Charlie Sheen after a big night of booze. I watched him snort coke off a hooker's tits one night, so that was fun. I muttered, heading across the yard towards my classroom and trying not to shiver at the horrid memory. He suddenly grabbed my arm, instantly letting go as I spun around and yanked myself away from him. My whole body tensed from his simple touch. He seemed curious by the way I reacted, but he masked it quickly and leaned against the wall, his voice serious. Is he violent towards women in general or just you? My face stayed unreadable as I shrugged. I've never seen him hurt a woman in my life. Look, Caden. Huh? I asked, watching his lip twitch with amusement as he fought a smile. My name's Caden. Good for you. Oh, okay. Well, Caden, I've watched my father get into trouble that he can't get out of so many fucking times. So listen when I tell you to get your mom to leave him. He's poison, and the only people who get hurt are those around him. He'll throw anyone under the bus to save himself if he needs to. Trust me on that. He gave me a nod before turning to walk away, talking over his shoulder at the last minute. Careful around here, Aurora. He's placed you in the lion's den. Girls like you don't last. I smirked at that. These fuckers could bring it on. Yeah? Well, I'm not like most girls and already live in hell at home. I might as well live it at school too, huh? He hesitated, looking like he was going to say something, but he continued to walk away and disappear around the corner just as the bell rang. I headed into the classroom and sat down, noticing people staring at me and whispering, but I ignored them throughout the whole lesson and kept my head down in my books until the lunch bell rang. I quickly made my way down the hallway and put my books in my locker, grabbing my bag before heading to the cafeteria to eat. I instantly regretted it though when I sat down and a cold, sticky drink was tipped over my fucking head. People erupted into laughter, but the only reaction I gave them was to glance up at the blonde who did it, with a small smile on my face. Probably best you didn't drink that, anyways. I mean, it can't be good for your waistline. Her eyes roamed, my eyes roamed over her, and I smirked. You could lose a few pounds. Penny, I know. The prissy bitch's lips lifted in a sneer. Who the fuck do you think you are? I rolled my eyes, sounding bored as I spoke. How about you fuck off before I show you who I am? She went to throw a punch, but I grabbed her arm, bending it around behind her back and slamming her chest down on the table to pin her there, speaking in her ear sternly. You rich kids like to pick on people who you think are below you, but you forget that we've had to survive more than you. We know how to fight, we play dirty, and we aren't afraid to get blood on our hands. I'm Rory Donovan. Nice to fucking meet you. I let her go, grabbing my bag and heading from the room, noticing a table of three boys in the back watching me. Caden was one of them, and he had an amused expression on his face. But he didn't make it obvious that he'd watched how the situation was handled. The guys beside him watched me with dark eyes, his short light brown hair spiked to look deliberately messy. I may have said dirty because my mind kind of went in the gutter when I was thinking about three guys. Yeah, sorry about that. You know me. I like it dirty. When he realized I was watching him, his eyes narrowed and he said something to the others as I held his stare. I didn't back down to fucking anyone. Oh, wait a minute. I skipped a whole bunch there, didn't I? Whoops, sorry. The other guy sat opposite them, his messy chocolate brown hair covered his eyes slightly, but the intensity in his curious stare burned through me. When he realized I was watching him, his eyes narrowed, and he said something to the others as I held his stare. I didn't back down to fucking anyone. The girl that I just had restrained was waving her arms around dramatically, yelling at Caden and his friends to do something about dealing with my trashy ass. But I pulled my eyes away from the stare down I was having and was out of the room, heading towards the bathroom before anyone answered the fucking drama queen. The rest of the day was basically the same. The girls would bully me relentlessly and no one stopped them, but I let them think they had the upper hand though. I dealt with worse over the years, and a bunch of prissy fucking high school girls weren't going to get to me. I was walking to the bus stop when someone called my name, making me glance over to find Caden and his two friends leaning on his car. I kept my expression blank, but inside I was basically having a fucking orgasm over his car. The shiny black Dodge Challenger STR Demon was begging me to drive it, but I wouldn't admit my appreciation of it to him. The fuck do you want, Caden? I asked harshly as I approached, earning a cruel smirk from him. He went to speak, but someone joined us and spoke instead, making my heart slam into my chest as they moved into my direct line of sight. There was no fucking hell that he went to my school. Rory, Rory. Let's see. What the fuck? Roy, what the fuck are you doing here? He asked with obvious horror on his face as his familiar almond eyes stared at me through his black fringe. Hey, Lucas, long time no see, I replied boldly, despite feeling like I needed to throw up as anxiety and hate rolled through me. Lucas James had been my best friend from the first day of preschool. He remained my best friend up until he walked away from me when I needed him most. That happened at the end of middle school, and I'd be been glad when he'd gone to a different high school than me. It also helped me move on when my father continued to move me to different schools every few months. I was running out of schools, honestly. Caden frowned, seeming confused by us. You two know each other? Lucas ignored him, moving up to me and jabbing a finger in my chest. You're the new girl that everyone's talking about? You took on Claire Davis at lunch? I shoved him back firmly with a glare. She's lucky I didn't beat her to a bloody fucking pulp, and you know it. Nice to see you turning a blind eye as usual, not that I needed your help. A spoiled little rich girl's the least of my problems. Lucas hadn't been there, but that wasn't the fucking point. Caden growled, getting between us and pointing at his orgasmic car, his angry green eyes on mine. Get in, Aurora. I scowled, giving him an unimpressed snort. Doubt it, dickhead. Was he for real? Lucas frowned with obvious confusion, drawing my attention to his eyebrow piercing as it moved with the motion. Hang on. How the fuck do you two know each other? Caden went to answer him, but I spoke over the top. We don't. Now, if you'll excuse me, I only got a few steps away before I heard Caden mutter not to touch me, but a hand grabbed me anyways. I spun around, jerking my elbow into the side of Lucas's head as panic overtook me. He let go, rubbing the tender skin with a scowl, his black choppy hair sticking up with emotion, and his angry eyes peeked out from behind his fringe. What the fuck, Rory? I shoved him, and I knew I was visibly panicked. Don't fucking touch me, Lucas, ever. His expression softened, but when he reached for me again, Caden pulled him back a step, obviously trying to give me the space I desperately needed. She said don't, so leave her. But I said fucking leave her, he warned in a low voice, making Lucas finally back up to his spot next to the others, biting his lip ring with annoyance as he glared at me silently. Caden watched me for a moment before turning towards the driver's side of his car, speaking over his shoulder. Are you sure you don't want to ride? I'd die if I got in that fucking car. I'd probably come all over the seat when he started the fucking engine and the vibration hit my ass. So I waved him off with my hand and shrugged. I'm fine. His green eyes met my blue ones, and it seemed like he was looking into my fucking soul as he stared me down silently until he finally snorted. You're far from fine if you want to be honest with yourself. Then he climbed into the car and slammed the door without another word, making me bite back a moan as the engine roared to life. I quickly turned and headed to my bus stop, only just managing to make it on time. I sat in the back and put my head in my hands with a sigh. Things just got fucking difficult. What the fuck? I snapped as I walked into my bedroom when I got home, finding it basically empty. The only thing left was my fucking bed and an empty set of drawers. I stormed through the house, frustration sinking in when I noticed Max was at home. But I found a note in the kitchen stating that everything had been moved to Josie's and to make sure I'd join them by dinner time. I scrunched it up in my hand and tossed it in the trash with more force than necessary, detouring back to my room and snatching my cigarettes from the hidden panel on my bedroom wardrobe before stomping outside to light one. I sat on the porch with my back pressed against the wall and closed my eyes, not opening them again until a car rumbled in the driveway. Caden climbed out from behind the wheel, making me snort. For fuck's sake, really? My eyes closed again in hope that he went away, but I heard him slide down the wall beside me, lighting his own cigarette before he finally spoke. Figured you might need a lift. I didn't look at him as I took a long drag, exhaling as I spoke. You figured wrong. I'm not fucking going anywhere. You might want to once it gets dark and cold. He shut the power off, apparently, he said lazily, blowing smoke into the air. Of course he did, I muttered, opening my eyes to flick the butt of my cigarette onto the lawn. How do you know Lucas? He asked bluntly, and I instantly tensed. I wasn't about to tell him my deepest, darkest secrets. We used to be friends. Friends? I was quiet for a moment before a small sigh left me, deciding to give him just enough to get him to back off and stop digging. He was my best friend from the first day of preschool until the end of middle school. Shit happened and I never forgave him, okay? Drop it because I won't talk about it anymore with you. He nodded, not seeming convinced by my answer as he glanced around the sad excuse I'd called home for most of my life. Mom wanted to set your room up, but I figured you'd probably don't like people touching your shit, so I told her to let you do it. After dinner, they'll probably fuck off for the night, so you'll basically have the house to yourself. I've got somewhere to be later, so I'll be home late. Come on, let's go, and I'll show you how everything in the movie room and stuff works. Got a Sony in there too, if you like playing, if you like gaming. I kept quiet for a second before glancing up at him, his green eyes staring back at me intensely. Why are you being nice? Yesterday you said we aren't buddies or anything, but you despise your dad even though he's all you really have and you don't take anyone's shit. So I figured we can at least not kill each other, okay? Get in the car, he mumbled, but he didn't sound bothered. I stood locking the house up before walking over to his car with him, hiding my excitement as I slid into the passenger seat and felt the soft leather under me. I was right about nearly having a fucking orgasm as the engine rumbled to life. We didn't speak the whole drive to his place, and once we got there, he wandered into the kitchen to we wandered into the kitchen together, making Max frown with disapproval. Where have you two been? I snatched a banana from the fruit bowl on the bench and shrugged. School? School's been out for over 2 hours. After school, I went home. This is your home now, Aurora, he said patiently, but I knew on the inside he wanted to fucking strangle me. I popped a shoulder up in a half shrug. Nah, this is Josie and Caden's home. You and me, we're like tourists. Once the money runs out, we'll fucking go. I peeled the banana, ignoring how his eyes narrowed to slits. Would you stop that? Believe it or not, I believe you'll be happy here if you just tried. I glanced at Caden with a smirk. I mean, At least I have some super good company while we're playing house. Did you know Caden's best buddies with Lucas James? My father stiffened, making Caden glance between us as he tried to figure us out, but Max forced a smile. Well, isn't that nice for you, honey? Does Lucas come around here often? Oh, yeah, all the time. We all share classes and stuff too. Maybe I'll hang out with him after school tomorrow. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, all the time. We all share classes and stuff too. Maybe I'll hang out with him after school tomorrow. I'm not sure yet. Oh, Caden, can you show me the movie room now? Caden gave me a curt nod, seeming unsure with what was going on. Yeah, sure thing. His eyes watched me closely as I took a big mouthful of banana, chewing it slowly and swallowing. God, that sounds so good. I love a good banana. Before turning to my father, who looked pretty pissed at me. You don't mind if we hang? You don't mind if? You don't mind if we hang out for a while, do you? Aurora, Aurora. I faked a giggle and forced myself to press my body against Caden's, resting a hand on his solid chest and smiling sweetly up at him. Come on, Caden. Since we toured my home, I say we tour yours. You know every room. He raised an eyebrow but smirked, deciding to play along with my little game, moving slowly so he didn't startle me as he reached out and tucked loose strands of black hair behind my ear with fake affection, a soft tone in his voice. As if I could say no to you. Max watched us as a moment before storm. Max watched us for a moment before storming from the room, a smirk of satisfaction stretching across my face. I removed myself from Caden, who was looking pretty fucking amused himself. Your dad's gonna think we're fucking now. Good, I shrugged, heading down the hallway with him trailing behind me. Once in the movie room, he plonked down on one of the couches, watching as I sat beside him before he spoke up. You know you'll just piss him off, right? I mean, I personally love pissing people off, but why do you want why do you want to? I met his gaze, giving him a bored shrug, drawing my knees up to rest my chin on them. He doesn't give a fuck how I feel when he fucks with my life, so I'll at least try to have fun in upsetting him back. Besides, maybe if I push him far enough, your mom will see the man he really is. Which is what, Rory? He asked, as his voice sounding tight and irritated, my eyes darting away from his as my arms tightened around my legs. Fuck. Nothing. How often does he hurt you? He asked gently after a moment, my jaw clenching in response. I ignored him, staring at the huge TV screen on the wall, my body tensing up when he shuffled closer and reached out to tuck my hair behind my ear like he had earlier. I hated the fluttery feeling in my stomach from his touch. Well, if he knows what's good well, if he knows what's good for him, he won't lay a fucking hand on you when I'm around. I flicked my gaze to his, my voice sounding breathy as I forced out. Why's that? Because I'll fucking kill him. He answered in a low voice as he stood, taking the remote and explaining what I needed to press to make the PlayStation work. Then he left the room quickly. I didn't see him again for the rest of the night. Whew. Okay, that was chapter 1. So, I'll read for another 15 minutes, and she's got it broke down a lot in here, so we'll see what happens as I read it. Rory, chapter 2. Dead bitch walking. Claire pealed with laughter as I wandered into the cafeteria at school the next day. I grabbed a can of soda from the vending machine, turning to walk away, but I ran into Claire and her friends who had managed to sneak up behind me. I gave her a dirty look and snorted. Move. Move. As if you didn't seem to understand me yesterday, so I'll tell you in another way. You aren't walking. You aren't welcome here. Also, what the fuck are you wearing, you trailer trash whore? She sneered, making me roll my eyes and give her a small smirk. We call them clothes. I know you're not used to them, but most people wear them all the time. It's in chapter 1 of How Not to Be a Little Tramp Guide for Beginners. I'm assuming no one's ever gave you a copy. She snarled, swinging her fist back. But the room went quiet as Caden's voice spoke over all the noise from his usual table with the guys. Claire, back off. Claire's eyes widened a fraction before she scowled, obviously not used to being told what to do. What the fuck, Caden? You know she's a problem here and has no right to prance around like she paid her way. She couldn't afford to go to school here, so some rich prick's paying for her. She's fucking trailer trash and I said back off. Rory, get over here and stop fucking winding her up. He snorted, jerking his head to motion me in the direction. Well, cat was out of the fucking bag now, wasn't it? People whispered as I made my way over to the guys, Caden moving over so I could sit between him and his friend with the spiked hair who ran his gaze over me without being discreet about it in the slightest. You guys know what's getting ready to happen, right? I'm getting ready to have to come up with 16 more male voices, and I'm running out today. Claire noisily snorted, drawing everyone's attention to her to see what she'd do. What the fuck are you doing? She's a nobody, for fuck's sake. Caden gave me one of his sandwiches before glancing at her with a bored expression on his face. You done fucking squawking now? She looked horrified, but he gave her a small smile and faked a thought popping into his head. Oh, I completely forgot. Everyone listen up. The room went silent as all eyes turned to our table as Caden stood, motioning towards me with a big shit-eating grin. Everyone meet Aurora Donovan. She's basically my new stepsister, so if anyone touches her, they'll be dealing with me. Got that? Whispers and gasps sounded around the room as he sat back down, but Lucas stared at us from across the table with shock on his face, his fingers tugging on his lip ring absently. Hang on. The guy your mom's banging is Max Donovan? Caden grinned, leaning back in his seat as he spoke. Yeah, they just moved in. Groovy, huh? His friend with the messy chocolate brown hair and pretty blue eyes checked me out without shame, finally smirking at Caden. Live in pussy, nice, bro. My gaze snapped to his as I spoke in a low, dangerous voice that made me sound tougher than I really was. No one fucking touches me. If you even try, I'll slice your fucking diseased dick off and choke you with it. A wicked grin stretched across his face, but Caden snorted and gave his friend a serious look. Back off, gents. Rory, this is Jensen Gilbert, and the guy beside you is Tyler Johnson. Sorry, I just got a strange. I don't know what it is. I'll have to read in a minute. And the guy beside you Tyler Johnson. Jensen reached a hand across the table, and I grabbed my knife from my pocket, instantly slamming it down between his fingers and leaving it to stick up in the table. Everyone in the room stayed silent as I kept my hard gaze on Jensen's, and he finally looked slightly worried when I didn't back down. Fucking pussy. I lifted my lip into a nasty smile, my voice dripping with sarcasm as I pulled my knife from the table and slid it back into my pocket. Shut up, Vincy. Like I said, don't fucking touch me. Jesus, okay. Holloway, she's fucking crazy. He mumbled, but that just made Caden chuckle with amusement. He was such a fucking asshole. Yeah, she is. So watch it. You guys all up the you guys all up for the meeting at my place tonight? Pizza movies? I can't be fucked hosting a party. I zoned out, letting the guys talk as I ate the sandwich he'd given me, but his voice snapped me out of my thoughts after a while. Rory, I asked, were you coming or not? I blinked with confusion, glancing around the table at the others. Where? Home. Ride with me, yeah? It's only study period and no one sticks around for that shit, he said lazily, watching me intensely as he waited for my answer. I hated for everyone in the room I hated how everyone in the room seemed to be waiting for my response. I finally shrugged. Yeah, sure, why not? Did you need me to fuck off tonight for your guys' night thing? Because if you won't, you're invited too, stupid. He rolled his eyes, standing and clearing his tray before waiting for the rest of us to follow him. As we walked past Claire's table, Caden moved from one side of me to the other, and I couldn't hear the muttering and protest under and I could hear the muttering and protest under people's breaths at it. I didn't get why it was such a big deal. Word had already spread through the school that Caden and the guys had put an end to the bullying on me, and everyone seemed to want to catch a glimpse of me as we all walked through the school and up to the parking lot together as a group. Everyone split up to go to their cars, and Caden gave me an amused smile as I climbed into his Challenger and we drove towards home. I was worried I'd moaned out loud about the car or something fucking stupid, but before I could worry about it for long, he spoke. You know, you're about to become the most popular girl at school, right? You mean unpopular? You saw how people glared at me. Why did you stand up for me, anyways? I muttered, peeking over at him to see him offer me a cigarette. I hesitated before accepting it, lighting it before putting the window down. Because you aren't who I thought you'd be, and to be honest, you cop enough bullshit at home. Besides, now I've said you're with me, no one will mess with you. Claire might, but you just let me know and I'll keep her in line, okay? Caden. Okay, he asked sternly, waiting for me to nod before giving me a sly smile. So, do we make it look like we're up to no good in front of your dad or what? You'd be up for that? I asked with surprise, making his smile widen. Hey, you want to fuck in the kitchen and get caught? I'd be up for that. I mean, you're already difficult. You're hardly difficult to look at, Rory. Did he call me hot? I was quiet for a while before giving him a small smile, hoping I didn't look panicked by the thought. Maybe we could upset him a little. No fucking, though. He laughed heartily. You want me to give you a sappy, cute nickname then? I've noticed you actually freak out when you're touched. And since I know you won't talk about it, it's not so horrible when it's you. I mumbled softly, watching him pause before lighting his own cigarette, giving me a curious look. You ever going to talk to me about it? We're only on day 3, Caden, but if you want to hold my hand or something in front of Max, that's okay. My face heated with embarrassment, but it didn't seem to know. But he didn't seem to notice as he took a drag of his cigarette and turned into our driveway. Once we parked the car, we climbed out and waited for the others to park close by before we all headed towards the front door together. Caden gave me a cheeky grin. Come here, troublemaker. I moved closer, letting him put an arm around my shoulders and pull me closer. I knew the others were watching us with curiosity as we walked into the house, but I didn't comment about it as we moved through the front room. Max and Josie were in the dining room talking when we walked in. Max instantly noticing Caden's arm around my shoulders. Josie gave us all a big friendly smile though, like the good mom she was. Hey guys, good day at school? Caden smiled back, not moving his arm from around me. Yeah, pretty good day. We're gonna have a movie night, so if you're looking for us, we'll be in the movie room. All right. Don't drink too much. Don't drink too many beers, okay? You know I don't like it, she replied, but Max snorted as he looked at me. Don't you have any beer? You got that, Aurora? I smiled with fake sweetness at him, sarcasm in my tone. Of course, Daddy. Only enough room for one alcoholic in the family, right? His jaw tightened, but Josie rolled her eyes. One or two never hurt anyone, Max. She's 17 after all. Yeah, not 21. I'll check on you when you go to bed, okay? He frowned at me with annoyance. How fucking embarrassing. I went to speak, but Josie laughed, my body relaxing. I wasn't used to someone being on my side when it came to Max. Leave her be, sweetheart. Besides, they'll all camp out in the movie room for the night. The boys normally have movie nights at each other's houses. It's good to see them, including Roy, too. He silently fumed as Caden smirked and moved behind me, wrapping his arms around my middle to rest his chin on top of my head. Don't worry, Mom. We love Roy being around. Did Max tell you Lucas and her was her best friend until he started high school with us? Josie beamed, giving Max a swat on the arm. You didn't tell me that. Oh, how wonderful. Don't be too loud tonight, okay, guys? I don't want to be kept awake by you. Caden met Caden met eyes with Max, making sure to give him a sly grin as he answered and started walking me towards the hallway. Trust me, we'll try really hard to be quiet. Come on, Roy. Once we were in the movie room, Lucas gave us a filthy look. What the fuck was that? I glared at him, about to tell him it was none of his fucking business, but Caden chuckled and spoke first. Nothing, man. Nothing, man. It's just funny to stir her dad up, that's all. Won't be fucking funny when he beats her fucking bloody all over it and she ends up in the hospital again, he growled, shoving past us and angrily sitting down on one of the couches. Caden's eyes moved over to me and he frowned, looking like Lucas just pissed in his cornflakes. Rory, leave it, Caden, I replied softly, sitting down on one of the couches. He set up as he set up a movie. Okay. We're gonna end there. That seems like a good place to stop. Um so this book is free on KU. But let's see how many books are in the series. It's 99 cents if you want to buy it, and it looks like there's going to be 4 books in the series. She's got books 1 through 3 written, And she must be working on 4. So, 4's coming out in April. So, you guys needs to go get it. 99 cents to buy or free on KU. So, don't get much better than that. Alrighty, so what's next on my agenda? I think I have Miss Carly on Tuesday. Is that right? Whoops, wrong app. Woohoo, last week of 2020, and then it's history. So we have Carly Davis and something about, let's see, what was that one? Secret Santa, a Forbidden Stepbrother novelette. Whoo, we liked him. Apparently, we must be liking him a lot lately since we got one today and Tuesday. And then Wednesday, we have C.E. Lashua, and it's called Aiden's Awakening. So, yes. Alrighty. I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas or holiday that you celebrated this week. We got New Year's coming up Friday and New Year's Eve Friday night, or Thursday night. So let's just kick out. Let's put our big girl boots on, our big girl pants on, and our boots, and let's kick 2020 right out to the curb for the garbage man to pick up on Friday morning. Yep, because I'm kind of over it, y'all. Kind of over it. Although I do love working from home. So let's hope 2021's a better year, and we shall get that ball rolling. You all have a wonderful day, and I will see you on Tuesday. So go read a book. Happy reading.